What's good, guys? Welcome back to All About Arsenal. And today, the big match is almost here. Liverpool versus Arsenal. I say Liverpool versus Arsenal because, as we know, the game is at Anfield. But before I get right into that, please hit that subscribe button. If you're new to my channel, you are welcome. If you're a returning gooner, you're also welcome as well. I'm currently on the road to 10K. So I'm actually doing quite well. I've been doing this less for a year now. And I'm almost, at 7K at the moment, but we're doing road to 10K as you can see on the screen. So please help a brother out. So you know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you're always kept abreast when I release new material. But it's been a great journey so far. So I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. It's a pleasure. And like I said in my last video, it feels good to know that, people actually like what you got to say. They actually like your content. They like your personality. So thank you once again, and let's get this road to 10K. Please like, subscribe, and share. Right. The big game's on Sunday, kick off at 4:30. And it's come too soon for me. It's too soon, but I think that probably gives Arsenal a slight advantage. And why do I say that? Liverpool have looked a bit shaky at the back. Van Dijk, he was okay. In the game at Newcastle, he was good. The first game against Bournemouth, Konate has been the weakest link. So as I begin to go into what I will share as my predicted starting 11 and how I think Arsenal can actually overcome Liverpool, I believe the area of Konate and possibly Szoboszlai, even though there's talks that Robinson is actually back in training, so he might resume his role in that right back position. But I think that's probably one of the areas that we'll find joy in. How do I see the match going? I'm very confident. I do believe Arsenal can get a win. I do definitely believe Arsenal can get a win. If we had not had, if we didn't have Madueke and Saka was still out, I'd have been a bit, But the depth that we have, the creativity that we'll still have in the pitch, I still think Arsenal can actually do damage. And I'm confident that we can actually pull a win. There's a lot of stats that suggest otherwise. I believe we haven't won at Anfield since about 2011 or 2012. I don't really care about what happens in the past. That's why the past is the past and we're looking on to the future. Do not remember the things of the former of the old. Behold, I'll do a new thing. If some of you know what that's from, that is from the Bible, book of Isaiah. So I do believe there's new things happening. New things that have been happening at Arsenal. As we can see, we've got Eze, which I'm still buzzing about, and the edge, the creativity edge that Eze also brings as well. I do feel that Liverpool at home is a monstrous task, and just like we saw against Newcastle, they just have this thing. They just come back at the last minute, just when you think you've got them, and they just do something a bit classy, a little bit luck and elements of luck. I can't say fluky because they are very intentional in what they do. So Liverpool is always going to be tough to be at Anfield. I think the key for Arsenal is the first 15-20 minutes. Liverpool at home, they're going to feel comfortable. They're going to be feeling it. They're going to be up for it. They're going to come for Arsenal. So after I have to sit back, first 15-20 minutes, soak up the atmosphere, soak up the pressure, slowly get into a rhythm. The key for me is the midfield area, the midfield battle. When you analyze the game against Newcastle, Joe Linton, Mr. Bruno Guimaraes, who was a beast, and Tonali, they bullied the midfield. They bullied the midfield of Liverpool, that they were struggling in that midfield battle. So the key for me is Rice, Zubimendi, and I do think Odegaard's going to play, can control that midfield. And I do believe if we're able to control that midfield, we can nullify some of the balls that can get to Saka. I mean, Salah. Can you imagine if Saka was playing for Liverpool? Salah and to Cody Gakpo. If we can minimize that, I think Arsenal will have a good day at the office. But this is all hypotheticals because there's so many things that can, impact the game. Just as you saw, Newcastle were having a good one against Liverpool. Then what happened? Anthony Gordon, he just does a silly challenge and he gets sent off. And I believe with Arsenal's track record with red cards the previous season, Arsenal's going to be extra alert, extra on point, and they're not going to give in to easy, can I say, traps to make rash decisions. Arsenal look like that. Our players are more cool-headed. But I'm hopeful. I do believe Arsenal can get something out of the game. It's a big game. And I believe the best time to play Liverpool is now. As you can see, some of their players are still not settling into the system, like Wirtz. He's not really hit gears at the moment, although I think he's a fantastic player. He might take a little bit of time to settle into the Premier League. So whilst Liverpool are still building, whilst they're still restructuring, while they're still getting into a system of play that's comfortable to accommodate all the players, Arsenal can really take this advantage to win. And I'm sure that Mikel Arteta is going to be telling them they are a bit weak. Set pieces, they've been weak. And that's one of Arsenal's greatest strengths. Arsenal, when it comes to attacking set pieces, are the best in the league. Probably the best in Europe at it. I know they have got crazy stats for it. Every time a corner goes in, you just know that something might happen. So I know that Liverpool are going to be practicing a lot of drills when it comes to set pieces. But the issue is Arsenal have so many different variations. We can see this season, they're doing a new variation, right? So I believe they've got a lot of weaponry in their arsenal, pun intended, to ensure that we can score. Some people are going to say, oh man, that's all you guys know. I don't care. At this moment in time, a win is a win. I take it. Some people are saying, would you take a draw? If it's a 0-0 draw, I'll take it because I still want Arsenal to maintain their record of not conceding for as long as they can. That's going to be very tough against Liverpool. Liverpool have already conceded 4 goals, scored 7. Arsenal have conceded no goals, and we've scored 6. So Arsenal are defensively strong. It's not going to be easy for Liverpool to walk into our defence and score goals. After that 5-0 victory, and I don't care if it was Leeds, the confidence is going to be back up for Arsenal. We've got a wonderful goalkeeper, that is David Raya. So I'm confident. But let me go into my starting 11 and let me show you how I feel that Arsenal should actually set up to get the best out of this match. But let me know what you think in the comments about what I'm about to share. Do you agree? Do you think we should shift things around? Is it not realistic for what Arsenal should be realistically trying to achieve in this game against Liverpool? So let's get into it. So, as you can see on my screen, I've got my predicted starting 11. Obviously, I'll definitely start the more obvious ones, which we know is a given. Gabriel, Saliba, and Raya. That's not changing. We know that's not going to change. Now, this is what's so interesting. Timber, man of the match against Leeds. So definitely he's earned his place. Ben White is still out with injury. I believe he's got a mild hamstring injury. So we've got Timber. Timber scored 2 goals and he had an assist, man of the match. Looking at this, I was tempted to put Timber on the left only because Timber is versatile. He can play on the left, on the right, but his favoured is on the right. Why would I be inclined to put Timber on the left if Ben White was better? Only because Timber would be up against Salah and he would pocket Salah. He would have the strength on Salah, the pace on Salah as well. But unfortunately, we know that Ben White is out, so Timber is going to take that right back position. Left back position is always a toss between Calafiori and Miles Lewis-Skelly. I'm going for Skelly only because defensive duty, Skelly is going to be up against Mo Salah. And we know Mo Salah is a veteran. He's a veteran. That game against Newcastle, he was non-existent for the second half and pulled out an assist. Though the assist should have gone to Szoboszlai because he did that wonderful dummy, but it's been accredited to Mo Salah. That is how dangerous Salah is. So we need somebody who's defensively sound. And let's be honest, between Calafiori and Skelly, it is Skelly without a doubt. And another reason why I go for Skelly is because Skelly is able to create those overloads in the midfield. You know, eventually what's going to happen, or what will need to happen, Arsenal need to dominate that midfield. We can see Newcastle was so physically dominant in the midfield against Liverpool. So if there's anything Arteta should take out of that, you need to bully them in the midfield. And having Miles Lewis-Skelly to invert into that midfield to create that overload, I think is going to give us a better balance to control that midfield area. So I'm definitely going for Skelly. But let me know what you think. Skelly or Calafiori? I think Skelly gets that spot. Rice and Zubimendi, that's a given. That goes without saying. But I believe they need to sit in that double pivot position to give that midfield extra depth, extra comfort. They are going to be up against Wirtz, up against Gravenberch, and apparently McAllister has resumed training. Don't know if he's going to be ready for Sunday. Pray he's not, because he is very, very good in that midfield, and he's also a very good deep line playmaker. So Zubimendi and Rice, and it's going to be key for them. So if they are assisted by Skelly to create an overload in that midfield area, I'm going to be more comfortable, especially when we decide to actually move forward. And you know that Skelly makes those wonderful runs and he can skip past players pretty easily. And he draws fouls very easily. So Rice and Zubimendi, this is what I'd love to see sitting in that double pivot position. Odegaard. Some people are saying that Odegaard is not going to play. I think Odegaard's going to play. Although he's not been spotted in training so far, it could be just precautionary for him to get as much rest as possible. I do see Odegaard playing. If Odegaard's not going to play, it would be Ethan Nwaneri. But I do think Odegaard is going to play. You know that Mikel Arteta, he can be a bit Machiavellian at times. He has this habit of basically acting like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. We're still assessing it. Then all of a sudden, wow, Odegaard's playing. And I believe he might do something like that just to unsettle, you know, Liverpool. Even though with Slot seems like one of the most composed managers, it doesn't look like anything can ruffle his feathers. But you also want that element of surprise. And we know that Arteta is a bit of a Machiavellian character. At times, he plays his cards close to his chest and he doesn't really give much away. But I do think Odegaard is going to start. I do think he's going to play. Now, this is the contention. Well, before I get to that, Noni Madueke, I think he's going to definitely play. He's going to start. When I saw him against Leeds on the left, wasn't impressive. When he switched to the right, when Saka came off, he was like a different player. He was a different player on that right-hand side of the pitch. So I do definitely think that Noni is definitely going to start. And I do think he's going to be great on that side of the pitch. And he's going to give Kirkes some problems as well. I remember the other match, Chelsea against Bournemouth, where Kirkes was still there. He gave him some problems. Although that side, he's going to be playing with Van Dijk as well. But I'm hopeful for Noni. He's known for taking on his man and trying to beat his man. So that's going to be great for Arsenal. So obviously he's going to go there. Now, our new number 10, Eberici Eze. I'm starting with Eze. The only reason is, some people might say go for Martinelli. He's got that pace and he can actually trouble Konate. I do definitely agree. And Konate hasn't been in best sort. So that's going to be pretty much, judging by what we saw against Newcastle, it might be Szoboszlai and Konate once again. I will go with Eze. Technically sound. Martinelli is going to pick the ball and run. Let's be honest. He's going to pick the ball. He's going to run. Hardly going to look up and see what's going on. Eze is going to be looking to feed those balls to Gyökeres. Because as we know, Gyökeres likes to drift onto the left-hand side of the pitch. So I do see that Eze, starting in this position, will provide more goal-scoring threats for Victor Gyökeres. Eze is more technically better than Martinelli. He's a playmaker as well. So Eze is going to be able to drift into the central positions and he's going to be able to create havoc and damage. Then we might say that might leave us a bit short, a bit exposed on the left-hand side. Let's see if Skelly's able to actually mix up his game. I have seen Skelly at times, he will come forward with forward runs. He doesn't do as much as Calafiori, but Skelly may also do that. He may decide not to invert into the midfield. He may be required to, you know, mix up his game. So Skelly, in my opinion, he could be a very, very pivotal player in this whole game. If he's able to create some overloads in that midfield, and if he's able to do a few overlapping runs to provide more width for Arsenal going down that left, that could be crucial. I say start with Eze. With Eze and Odegaard, they're going to be the two most creative players and they can make something happen as well. I do not see Liverpool sitting in a low block against Arsenal, and even if they do, it's not going to be for a lot of long amounts of time in that game as well. Arsenal really need to take their chances. So Victor Gyökeres, you know, is going to be up front. I'm going to be very interested to see that relationship between Eze and Gyökeres. If you see the way Eze was playing with Jean-Philippe Mateta, you can see that he would thread in some lovely balls onto Mateta to get onto as well. And Mateta and Gyökeres, Mateta is more agile, he's more flexible, and I think he's technically better. I would take Mateta. I think he's a good centre forward, but we're not talking about that. We got Victor Gyökeres, we're happy with it. I believe the way Eze plays, his vision, he can pick out good balls for Gyökeres. So that, for me, is my starting 11. Martinelli, I believe, bring on Martinelli second half, 70th minute, if we're controlling the game. If we're 1-0 up but we're controlling, bring on Martinelli. I would probably, if for example, Odegaard is not playing too well, I would swap Eze with Odegaard and I will put Martinelli on. Let Martinelli run at the fullback. Let Martinelli even play as a false nine. Let's say he's tired. Let's put Gyökeres off and put on Martinelli. How is Van Dijk going to compete with the pace of Martinelli? Coming in on 70 minutes and he's fresh, he's going to cause a bit of havoc. He's going to cause some damage in the final third. So that's what I'm thinking, how Arsenal can shape up. But let me know what you think in the comments. It's a big game for Arsenal and I'm so confident. I don't know what it is. I'm confident Arsenal are going to win. A lot of people are saying, oh, we've not won in Anfield for a long while, but that was then. This is a different Arsenal squad and things can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen on the day. Arsenal can do it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I think if Arsenal beat Liverpool, and I just don't want us to scrape it, even though a win is a win, I want us to beat them comfortably. And I don't mean comfortably like 3-4-0. No, I don't see that happen. That's not going to happen. But I mean comfortably like 2-0 or 2-1 and we control the game. I want us to control the game because I want us to send a statement to other Premier League clubs that we've arrived, we are here. If we beat Liverpool at Anfield, we're going to release that fear factor onto other teams and they're going to fear us. I believe last season, Liverpool were winning games because their attack was so overwhelming and Liverpool were a scary team. I don't think they're the same team they were last season. I think selling Luis Diaz, I wouldn't have done that. That guy, I feared that guy. That guy was so good. He was so good. But anyway, it is what it is. But let me know what you think. What are your score predictions? I'll be happy with the draw, but I don't want to draw. I really want this to be a statement. I really want Arsenal to go on and win that league. And to win that league, you need to be able to beat your toughest rivals away in their stadium. First 15-20 minutes is crucial. Can Arsenal silence the crowd at Anfield? I remember 2 seasons ago, we were 2-0 up. What happened? Xhaka decided to pick a fight with Trent. That stirred up the cop. That stirred up Anfield. And we all know what happened. We ended up drawing 2-2. But let me know what you think in the comments. Can Arsenal win this match? Come on, you gooners. Till the next time, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Stay blessed and peace.